says preparing to live stream the meeting.
We recording also?
Not yet, but I will do that. Record to the cloud. Recording. And okay. All right, it looks like we are live, I think. Yep, we're
I'm just
live.
double checking that we are like I like to watch us on live stream to make
Yep.
sure it's all working.
Yeah.
I don't like to watch. I get distracted, but I like
Yeah,
to
we
make sure
are.
it's working.
I just checked. We're on.
And we're live.
And we're live.
Hello, darlings. I am Clarissa. This is my dear, 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 dear sister, Babs.
Hello.
We are short a sister today. Our beloved Kristen is not going to be joining us for this call, but we are sending her love, and I know she is sending her energy here in spirit together. So, collectively, we are Unbecoming Karen. We are three white women healers who are choosing to look at our own internalized white supremacy programming and heal what we find there that is in service for us to heal, both for our own liberation and the liberation of all beings everywhere, because we have been loaded with a lot of crap culturally, biologically, systemically, internally. And as we bring this stuff to light, we have the opportunity to heal and to find a way back to one another without all of that tragic, heartbreaking separation in the way. So we invite you on this journey with us. I will do a quick little housekeeping. So this is a live streamed conversation, but we also consider this to be a sacred container. We want, even though it's one direction, we would love to hear from anybody who watches this and is moved by it or has questions about it or doesn't understand something we're talking about, to let us know. How can we bring you into the conversation? So if you're watching during the live stream, please use the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. And if you are watching after, feel free to post comments. We'll do our best to see those and respond. You can also always go to the description of who we are, and there's a subscription link to join our mailer list. And so, what is it called?
Yeah, a mailing list.
Mailing list.
Yeah. Mailer list.
Complicating things.
Mailing.
Yes. And that way we can be more in touch. In addition to these live streams, we've started doing a one-time per month virtual circle, so we can actually meet in real time with people anywhere on the planet. We get to have open conversations together and live healings together based on what the needs are that surface during those calls and what we're discovering together. So we would love for you to join us for our next one, which will be probably in 2 weeks or something. All right. We are doing our very best as we are doing this work, and sometimes we may make mistakes and put our feet in our mouth, and that's just part of the messy nature of this work. And we will unpack some of that later on the call, because today's topic is sort of around not putting one's foot in one's mouth per se, but being courageous and being willing to step forward and learn as we go in a public way. So please just have grace with us, have grace with yourselves as we are learning through this. Notice what your body is asking of you throughout the time. So if you notice, there's tension welling up in your chest, ask yourself what you need. Do I need to get up and walk around? Do I need to wiggle? Do I need to take some deep breaths? Do I need to step away for a minute and come back to this? Do I need to ask a question? Is my throat stuck and I need to get on the keyboard and communicate? Like, what does that mean? Or I don't believe you, or whatever it might be that comes up that is alive for you that you need to express. We want to hear that as well, because we are growing through this together. So it's going to be messy and imperfect, but here we are. we're willing to do it because it matters, and we're so glad that you're here. And we believe that this is not about perfection. Perfection is part of the myth that keeps us separate and squished. And the more we give voice to what is there for us, even if we don't know exactly how to say it, the more liberated and free we can all become. If you don't understand something we say, please ask. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, this is a space where we're practicing fierce vulnerability. So no one here is bad or wrong, and we have been programmed to believe very harmful and divisive things, and we are bringing it here to the light to heal it. So Babs will speak to that later. How um, Brene Brown says shame cannot thrive in the darkness, cannot survive in the darkness. There we go.
Or does
Shame.
thrive. It thrives in the darkness,
Oh,
right?
shame thrives in the darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
It cannot survive in the light.
Cannot
Yeah.
survive in the light. Okay.
Right.
Wow.
One of those.
Should check my quotes before I start talking. Something about shame and light. I don't
Dark.
know. And so, even though it's incredibly uncomfortable and scary sometimes, this is a space that we cultivate to be able to hold these very vulnerable conversations. And so, again, we just encourage you to lean in, soften your heart, and come here with curiosity. And again, ask questions and engage with us when you're uncomfortable or you don't understand. We intend for this to be an hour, but we are also trying to unplug ourselves from the rigidity of Gregorian time. So it will be thereabouts. Might be a little shorter since there's two of us, or it could go longer if we're really deep in conversation. We will start by doing this little housekeeping. Babs will lead us then in a meditation to bring us all into the present, connect our souls, call in our spiritual support teams. And then we'll open up a dialogue around a very fascinating comment that Babs and our mentors received on a recent post that is loaded. There is going to be lots to talk about.
Yeah.
And no doubt it will bring up all sorts of feelings, which is good. Uncomfortable though they may be. And then we'll wrap up by doing an intentional, intuitive healing around what is arising in support of our collective evolution and healing and coming together as one. We expect there to be triggers, so just honor yourself. If you need to step away for a minute, please feel free to do that. If you need to turn this off and come back later, all of it is good. Or again, ask questions. That is probably one of the most empowering things that we can do when we are learning how to be in community together. Again, is to ask questions when we feel uncomfortable. So we really encourage that. And lastly, we are not for everyone. So if it feels like this is just not aligned for you, part of what we encourage is full sovereignty. So step away if it's not your space. It's all good. And we send out love to you no matter what. And we know that there are other teachers that might resonate more than us. And for the people who are called here, we are so grateful. And we honor you being here too and want to hear from you. So with that,
All right, let's
did I
drop
leave
into
anything
the
out?
space. No, I think that was
Okay.
great.
All right.
So let's drop in together, and then I'll probably just go right from that right into sharing screen so you can see so you can see the comment that I was included in. Yeah, and we'll go into the teaching or the learning together from that. So, all right, I invite you, if it feels right, to go ahead and close your eyes. And if that doesn't feel aligned for you, then just let your gaze soften, let your eyes soften. Maybe take a deep breath to arrive here into this time together. Just begin to bring your awareness to your body as much as you can, but giving your mind time to transition into this space. I know my mind is feeling quite busy,
Mm.
and so let's just invite our minds to soften, to let go of anything that's on your mind, anything that you've been working on, or busyness, or the to-do list, or the things you haven't done yet, all of that. Just breathing, allowing your mind to just let go as much as it can. And with each exhale, see if you can just allow your awareness to drop down into your body just a little bit more, down into your heart. And just noticing how your body receives your breath. No judgment, no expectations or shoulds here. Just noticing in this moment how your body's feeling, how your breath is feeling. Just allowing yourself to slow down and set your intention to come fully into this time together, into this conversation that Clarissa and I will be having. Really honoring yourself and your heart for bringing you here, and honoring this work, this very, very vital and important work of healing white supremacist programming that we carry. And feeling your feet on the floor, feeling your legs, and then feeling your roots from your feet, those energetic roots just dropping down into the earth now. Really feeling yourself present on this planet in this time and space. Just allowing yourself to be really held by your seat, by your chair, by wherever you may be resting. Allowing yourself to be held and supported. And then now inviting in our non-physical support crews, if there's any guides, angels, any non-physical support crew that you have, known or unknown, we invite them all in now to be with us. This work is so much bigger than any one of us or even us all together. It's being so guided and so held and so supported. This is big work that we're doing, and we have big support to do it. So just allowing yourself now to really feel the presence of your spirit guides, your divine team, your non-physical support crew surrounding us now and really holding this container, really holding us here as we step into this conversation with the intention for connection, healing, and community. And as you feel ready, I invite you to open your eyes and come into the space. Look around your space a little bit, orient to where you are. And when you feel ready, I can come back into the screen. It's always amazing to me after just a short thing like that, how different I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. So, yes,
Can I
so I,
say quickly that
yes.
one of the things that dropped in when I was slow enough to like
Mm-hmm.
hear it is that we're doing this on a Monday and we don't usually. So my childcare ends at the end of the hour,
Okay.
but I may be able to rearrange things a little bit. I will just be texting for a brief moment.
Okay, that's
Would you
great.
mind
And then I'll just do the intro
calling
of
in
the
support?
topic.
Yeah,
Okay,
let us in on what's going on in your world while I'm doing that,
I
and
will.
fill us in on this delightful text that
Yeah.
crossed your path, or not text, but
Yeah.
comment.
So what happened was this morning, and this is amazing to me how the timing of things, right? Given that we're doing our live stream on a Monday instead of Thursday. So this morning I was notified that there was a comment on Instagram that tagged me, and that was not very flattering. That was quite negative and sort of attacking, and sort of the worst fear that we all in the entrepreneurship world, that like the fear of being criticized, judged, called out in
Especially
social media
publicly,
publicly,
like
right?
not just like a private, hey, by the
Nope,
way,
nope.
but like open for everybody to see and shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is some of what we talk about here, right? The calling out culture, and that there's something in, and we sort of bring this back to white supremacist programming and colonizing and extraction mentality, right? Which is the attack
Yeah.
to try to keep people in their place
Mm.
or that kind of thing. And, who knows? So I'm going to share my screen with you so I can show you the comment. I've blacked out, I've redacted. I hate to use that word right now, given the context of the Epstein files, but I have redacted names and anything that might be identifying of anyone except me so that you can see, just makes it more real. So I'm going to share my screen right now so you can see this comment. Um, that was very recently posted. So I became aware of it today. So basically, what it says is at Babs Goslin, me, you sat back and allowed white people to be called white supremacists just so you could continue to culturally appropriate and steal money to support your many scams. You owe so much money to real victims and women trying to survive on this blue dot. Lacking in integrity all around. And then spirals, which was the symbol of something of Kairos, you know. And then apparently, I think those are chickens, maybe.
I think they're the black, uh, like ravens were a big
Oh,
energy there too.
ravens. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, so this is what I saw. And so many things happen in a moment, right? When you read it. And interestingly for me, when I first read it, it didn't really affect me that much. I was sort of like, I mean, there was a little bit of a twist in the gut, like, ooh, um, to be accused publicly of scamming and um, accused of these things is difficult. But not too long ago, I think without the healing I've done over these past few years, this would have hit me a lot more deeply. And I think that's really important, right? Because the reactivity that you see in this comment is indicative of a lack of some healing, I think. So we felt it important to share this on this call because this is the power of the word I was using was a virulent white supremacist programming, right? And I feel like our current administration, a lot of the policies
Mm.
are like there's white fragility in here, right? Like, how dare you? Now, first, I just want to say that in what this person is referring to was the conversations we were having in Kairos, where Clarissa and Kristen and I first met as part of that Transcendent Social Justice
Mm.
curriculum with Catrice Goddard.
Mhm.
And then conversations that happened within the community based on that. So never did we call anyone white supremacists. That just was not part of the dialogue. So the fact that this person is reflecting that I allowed white people to be called white supremacists isn't accurate, but that was her experience. Because we were talking about white supremacist programming, that was experienced by this person as being called a white supremacist. And in our conversations here, we're very, very clear like, that's not what we're doing. That is not even close to what we're doing. It's not about finger pointing and calling people anything. It's pointing out, wow, look at how this lives in me. Look at these beliefs I can. Look at what I just noticed myself thinking. So there's a lot of wounding behind this too, right? But then there's the attack, right? Starts with an attack, but then it just gets even more kind of personally attacking, right? Accusing me of cultural appropriation. I'm not even sure what that is referring to, and stealing money to support my many scams or our many scams. So, and owing money to, and then this is the phrase that really got me to real victims, and women trying to survive on this blue dot. So, and I'm assuming that means the earth,
Mhm.
the blue dot, right?
Mhm.
Um, Another piece of context with this is that there was a post in our community at one point where this person posted something about, can we all please agree to stop telling people they're, quote, just being the victim when they're expressing their trauma? And I liked her comment. I commented on it and I agree, like, it's sort of like victim shaming in a way of like, oh, you're just being a victim, right? And I agree, like, let's not do that. So, and then another person in the community, a woman of color, commented on it. And I have to tell you that when I first saw her comment, I felt it was very bracing. It felt very confronting. And my first reaction to it was defensiveness and feeling like it was an inappropriate comment. And that's not what we're talking about here. And I felt myself going into that whole script of like, that wasn't, you should, that's not what she was talking about. And basically, what the comment said was white people are very quick to claim the victim. It was to the effect of, and I can't remember the exact comment, but it was something like, white people are very quick to claim victimhood when the truth is that most often it's been white people victimizing people of color. And at first, when I read the comment, I thought that it was inappropriate, that it was disrespectful. I had all of these experiences around it, but then I went back and read it and I knew this person, right? And I really valued her opinion. So I went back and read it again and read it again and read it again. And I didn't respond. I didn't react. I wanted to go, that's not that's not what she's saying. I wanted to be defensive, right? But because of the work we were doing, I knew not to do that. I knew to take a breath, step back, go, whoa, I'm feeling defensive right now. So white fragility got a little bit scratched right here. And then I was like, you know what? I reread the comment and I was like, she is so respectful in this. And she's so brave in this for stepping in and like making this comment in this container that was largely white, but there was an intentional, the fact that we were having these conversations with Catrice, right? There was an intentional white supremacist healing component to it. So, but then what happened behind the scenes was this woman that had put the original comment, was so offended that she went to other people and started trying to like rally and basically saying that we were calling people white supremacists and it got ugly. So when I saw this comment, I was just like, this is the power of unhealed white supremacy. This is white fragility. Like, how dare you suggest that we all carry white supremacist programming? How dare you say that? And it's like it's the arguments you see about getting rid of critical race theory, right? Or like don't talk about our history. Like, so I could feel myself when I read this. There's been so many things, right? And one of them I realized was there was part of me that felt like, oh, see, it's dangerous to be having these conversations. Maybe we shouldn't be having these conversations. But then very quickly I was like, no, 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 no. Actually, it's all the more important
Mm-hmm.
to continue having these conversations and that it's actually brave, especially in today's climate. For us to be here having these conversations, being public on YouTube where anybody can find it, we open ourselves up potentially to this. And I mean, it does scare me, I'll be honest. But so then the question was like, what do I do about this? Do I go on here and defend myself?
Mm.
And it was very clearly like, no, no, it's just about block this person so she can't tag you anymore. Like, this is not inviting any kind of healing conversation, right? So just not engage with it, right? So anyway, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now
Mm.
and we can have the rest of the conversation
Hmm.
here. Yeah. So that's what happened. That was my day. Part of my day.
Yeah.
A little piece of it.
um, It feels like there's so much here that we could dig into. And just for context, when I first, so you sent that screenshot to me earlier today.
Yep.
I didn't know the person who posted it. And I assumed that they were a person of color
Oh,
because
interesting.
that seems like, I mean, it could very well be somebody's experience. And as white bodied people, we are just like missing something that we haven't seen or understood yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in my experience, all three of you who were mentioned in it are open for those conversations. And you do
Yep.
not want to be causing more harm.
Right.
And you are willing to hear the uncomfortable stuff
Mm.
so that you can um, so that you have an opportunity to see anything that is there for you to own
Yep.
and tend to, so that you're not causing more harm, because we do
Mm-hmm.
all cause harm. We just do.
Yeah.
We all have
Right.
this programming inside us, and we're unbecoming Karen. That's what we're doing. We're
Right.
like piece by piece learning to um, untangle these tendrils from who we are,
Yeah,
right?
it's the harms that we didn't know that I didn't
Yeah,
know I was causing, right? It's
yeah,
hidden.
yeah.
And so that's what these conversations are about is bringing it out of hiding. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so that's why it's partly why it's so uncomfortable because you
Yeah.
realize the harm you've been inadvertently causing.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
there's, I mean, that alone could be its own conversation.
Totally.
There's so much. And and we are here for them. We want to know if we are causing harm.
Yes.
So then shortly before we hopped on the call, we were chatting about this, and I learned that this is actually coming from a white person who posted this. So I was like, oh, that's fascinating. Does it change? Does it change the
Mm,
context? Does it change the and it definitely opens more curiosity in me. And there's a little part of me that wants to like scoff. And like I maybe, I'm gonna say it. I maybe even take it a little less seriously than I would if it was coming from. I mean, I think I do take it less seriously than if it were
mm,
coming from a person of color, because it's then to me my mind goes, well, this is coming from wounding.
yeah.
That is like the blame rather than something that we missed, right?
Right.
And who, where I'm actually being led now is into like, what is the opportunity here? Like, why did this show up, and what
Right.
is here to? I mean, is it like a taking stock of where you are in your journey? Like
Mm,
my mouth is triggered. Interesting.
yep.
And is there like deeper opportunity here?
I mean, there always is, right? Or maybe not, but it's always worth asking the question and really feeling in, right? It's interesting because as I was, first thing Monday morning, it's like, really? But then when I realized, oh, but we have a live stream tonight,
Mm,
it felt like, okay, so this is perfect in a way because this is a great topic of conversation, right? So perhaps it's just that simple.
yeah,
Like this came along so that we could have this conversation tonight.
yeah.
And um, I mean, I guess one of the questions that it raises for me is, I mean, this is sensitive. This is a sensitive topic. And what we want, our desire, is not for white people to back into their corner with their gloves up,
Mm,
to use a boxing analogy,
yeah,
right? And to be in opposition. But
yeah.
we also want people to be willing to look at where they might be carrying, how this programming lives in them. And I think it's the people that are most vehemently self-proclaimed non-racists and allies and I don't see color and all of those statements are all real red flags, right? As far as how much someone's willing to go deep and look within and see what is there. Um, because it's so white centered. It's so
Mm,
white centric, right?
mm-hmm,
Like, how dare you? That's what I hear, and they're like, how dare
mm-hmm,
you imply that I have white supremacist programming because I'm
mm-hmm.
white? Um, so
Don't you think that you do though?
don't I think I do what?
Have white supremacist programming
Oh, of
just
course.
like
I
white
know
people?
I do. I know all of us do. Or I would say, I mean, I don't know all of us do, but we all grew up in this culture, on this planet in which white supremacy reigns,
Yeah.
really, right? Or
I wanted to
has.
understand that because I think I
Yeah.
could keep misinterpreting or misunderstanding when you say, like,
When
how
I
dare
say,
you imply that I have white
well,
supremacy
I feel like that's
biases?
what this person is saying in this
Oh,
comment.
okay. So that person is saying, like,
That
how dare
person,
you imply
I
that
feel
I
like
do?
that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you said that white
yeah,
people are white supremacists. And I was
yeah.
like, actually, no. Or you
Mm,
let white people be called white supremacists. Like, no, actually, that's not what we were
yeah,
doing. It's not
yeah,
about calling anybody anything.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, that's what I mean by it. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for
for
the
clarifying.
clarification. Sure.
Yeah, and we really do like we know the water that we're swimming in.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
we're all in this like personal journey of how has it impacted me and where do I not show up.
Yeah.
Resma Menakem, who wrote My Grandmother's Hands, has this beautiful way of differentiating where he calls it clean pain and dirty pain.
Oh, yeah.
And dirty pain, my dear friend Lorena reminds me of this all the time. Dirty pain is like shame based. It's where it comes from the place and it actually feels dirty in your heart, in
Mhm.
your soul. It feels like shameful, embarrassing, from a right and wrong perspective, like I'm right, they're wrong, or I'm wrong. Um, and clean pain is like when you have done or are doing this work, and the intention is from this place of healing. Um, the willingness to be vulnerable and suffer more pain for the sake of the collective and for our own liberation from this programming, right? It comes from witnessing the harm that is happening right now, and that we are a part of it in our own ways, but that also comes with the responsibility and the responsibility to take action so that it doesn't happen as much or anymore.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring up the like the color blindness,
Hmm.
because we would really love we would love nothing more than to live in a world where diversity was celebrated as the lifeblood that it is, where like it was not a thing because it's not a thing because we all know how much we need each other to thrive and how much we benefit from each other's uniqueness
Hmm.
um, and contribution, and yet we are in a period of several hundred and thousands of years of oppression,
Yeah.
and that is just it is in the air we breathe, so
Yeah.
we cannot escape it, but that doesn't necessarily make anybody anything that we would label as white supremacist. It is a person who is in this system, in this programming, and we all admit to having some of that live within us, and that's why we're here.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we come by it honestly, right? That's what I'm always saying. We
Yeah,
all come by it honestly. And I
yeah.
mean, I've part of my journey in this healing process of this particular healing, um, I've been surprised when I've noticed, like, holy shit, that's there. Like, I just felt
Mm,
that. I just
mm-hmm.
thought that. I just had that experience of witnessing something and having this particular lens on it. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't even know it. You don't even see it. It's that programmed in. It's in our unconscious.
Yeah,
It's not intentional and conscious for many of us.
yeah,
I mean, for some people, they're just so kind of programmed that they believe it and,
yeah.
live it loud and proud. So that's a different conversation.
Right.
But yeah.
And I think it's a bit risky, as as white people who are on our healing journey to, I mean, it's very risky to have these conversations because we're gonna like reveal um where our thoughts are, where our programming is, and
Mhm.
yeah, as we were speaking about before with the Brene Brown quote that I botched so beautifully. um, we there are gifts in the mistakes and in the foibles and in the being willing to try and figure it out and trust each other enough that we're doing our best in this very loaded conversation. Conversation meaning not just like right now, but
The
being
overall.
part of this global conversation that is happening right now of being able to see with more clarity where the programming is, how it shows up, and how we are related to it.
Yeah. And it's a very, for me, it feels like a sort of a wobbly way of trying to walk my way out of the white silence and white complicity.
Mm,
Like that's part of the white privilege, right? Of not saying anything, of not trying to talk about it, of not risking putting myself in crosshairs, so to speak,
yeah,
right? And that's partly why the silence is so deafening,
yeah,
you know? So yeah, it feels super scary to be having these conversations, especially in light of a comment like this.
yeah,
And one of the things, it's interesting when we were in Kairos, one of a couple of women of color at different conversations said to me, or that were in conversations that I was part of, literally specifically called out white women, right? Like white women have been the main, and again, I'm paraphrasing, so I apologize to any people that I might be misrepresenting, but that it's been white women that have been the main mm, mechanism for upholding this whole system. And I was like, like, no, like, it was really hard for me to hear that and to believe that. But as, again, remaining open to hearing it, I think this is a big part of the white work, right? Is being open to listening to what people of color are saying
yeah,
without defending, but just to, doesn't mean they're right, doesn't mean, whatever, but at least listen to it, take it in, ponder it, imagine that it, like just all of that. Um, and so I've been, that this is the whole Karen, the unbecoming Karen, why we chose that name, right? Because the Karen is the white woman that unknowingly many times, and sometimes knowingly, but many times unknowingly, is a very primary mechanism of keeping this whole thing going. Like when you look back through history, right? That oftentimes lynchings or things happened because a white woman would accuse a black man of looking at them or whistling at them or like, and the woman in Central Park, they called the police on the black man because she felt threatened, and that whole dynamic of the belief, the white supremacist belief that black people are dangerous, that if they're not in a caretaking role and actually making me feel comfortable, then that means they're dangerous. And that's so embedded in so many of our nervous systems. And, that when a white woman feels threatened by the mere presence of a black, especially man, calls the police, right? Like that's kind of the classic Karen behavior. And it's so easy to want to attack the person who does that. But when you step back and look at it from a nervous system perspective, um, and know that it's like the conscious the executive functioning brain is offline. And the problem is that this person's nervous system has been taught, learned through media, through all the things, through genetics, through being passed down ancestrally, through all the programming, right? That danger,
yeah,
that person is dangerous. And their nervous system just, they really feel like they're in dire threat, even though the person's bird watching.
yeah,
So it's on the one hand, it's like pointing the finger and judging and blaming and shaming doesn't help, and like the shit has to stop.
Yeah.
right? Because calling the police on that black man very well could end in his death.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's like not blaming and shaming, but also, the whole thing like you're not at fault for it, but you're responsible for it, right? So like we're all responsible for what we carry and what we do with it so that we don't cause the inadvertent harms or even outward,
Yeah.
is advertent a word as opposed to inadvertent? The advertent harms. Yeah. Yeah, but the whole like for me with that comment, a big part of it as I've been processing it is like the being willing to still have the conversations even though
Yeah.
it may mean because again historically white people that stood with people of color that stood with the black community, were also often attacked and beaten and um
Yeah.
as traitors, right? Or whatever. Um
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. And as you were saying, I mean, I would agree with white women largely being um, a very necessary cog in the mechanism
Mm,
for the perpetuation of this, and it has been for the last hundreds and thousands of years,
yeah,
because it was conditioned into us that it was not safe to
right.
do anything different. So we are uprooting our programming and deciding to do something. Like I remember during I've mentioned this before, so I'll just like briefly mention it. But after George Floyd was murdered, and when Black Lives Matter was like a very prominent conversation in our society, I felt paralyzed. I did not have the tools to
Hmm.
have these conversations. I knew there was wrongness in it, but that was an example of dirty pain where I
Yes.
did not say anything. I stayed in my stuff because I didn't know what else to do. I knew it was like it for me, it felt wrong to stay in silence. But I was afraid to speak up because I didn't want to cause more harm. I didn't want to say them something wrong and reveal myself as ignorant, even though
Hmm.
I was very ignorant. Um, I didn't want to like reveal myself as someone who had been like an ally, a friend who then was like causing harm with my ignorance. And I'm so grateful now that we can have these conversations because there's been such a gift to being able to say, like, hey, I'm figuring this out.
Yeah.
I am not going to get it right, if there even is a right, but I'm doing my best because it matters. And I'm willing to risk that stepping out from that protection of
Hmm.
being one with the paradigm, one with the like cultural um, mechanism of staying in the herd, right? And risk not knowing, risk revealing myself as being ignorant. And I'm grateful for spaces like this where we can come and talk openly about this stuff. Where it's like this is really uncomfortable and I don't know how to get through it. But like once I made that choice, and because of Kairos actually, and those conversations with Patrice, I began to move from the dirty pain of paralysis in the I don't know into the clean pain of I don't know, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah. 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 It's like, I don't know, but I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Please, like,
Is
help me. Somebody help
yeah.
me.
Is very different from like, I don't know, and I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
and it's a bravery. There's a
Yeah.
bravery piece to it, right?
Yeah.
And one of the other things that comes up for me in this conversation is like, in that comment, the whole thing about you let white people be called white supremacists.
Mm,
I think there's a lot of people who, and there were other comments in Kairos that I remember seeing from white women of like implying that because we're looking at this stuff and because we're having these conversations, we're actually feeding into division instead of
mm,
connection. Like,
mm-hmm,
and that we were keeping black people in a disempowered state
mm.
by saying that they were victims. right? And like, I remember one person who's like, I have black friends and they don't think they're victims, and I don't think of them as victims. And I remember like, so there can be a basic disagreement as to whether there's a problem,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And that goes like hand in hand often with I don't see color and can't we all just be one or any of those things like in the spiritual communities, right? But um and I know there are, like I think of Candace Owens and people that are, black people kind of figureheady that claim that there's no problem. This is not a problem. There's doesn't exist. People are just being victims or whatever, right? So that's such an insidious part of this.
Mm,
Where, and you know what I keep on thinking about? Have you ever heard of that expression, Darvo? Somebody, it came out of, I think, the false memory syndrome movement, like back in the 80s.
I do not know what that is.
So this, I know I'm quite semi well versed in it because it derailed my healing for a while.
Mm,
Somebody came out with this phrase, false memory syndrome, and you'll still hear it sometimes. And basically, it's like there's no such thing as repressed memories. And if you have memories that come up, they're false memories. Like you can't believe memories. If it was a thing, you would remember it, right? So they coined this term false memory syndrome. And I, being one who had a lot of uncovered, repressed memory, um, it feeds right into the difficulty that one has that's recovered traumatic memories of doubting them, which is a hallmark of traumatic memory, by the way, is doubt. So it feeds into the doubt, right? So it just made me doubt myself. And it took a
mm,
few decades to finally get through all of that and get full memories. So it turns out that that phrase was coined by the parents of a woman who had accused them of sexual abuse as a child, credibly. So they might have even written a book. I don't know. I have to go and look up the history of this, but anyway, so the woman that did the accusing, I believe, wrote a book, and I think it was her. And again, some of my details may be off here, but the gist is the phrase DARVO came out of that. And DARVO, DARVO, stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. So it's what people, perpetrators, or white supremacists, let's say, what they will do. It's the playbook for how to defend themselves.
yeah,
So deny there's a problem, attack, like that comment,
yeah,
and reverse the victim and the offender, right? So you owe real victims money, right? So there was Darvo in all over that comment. And it starts with deny,
yeah,
right? That not being willing to go, wait a second, is there something to what's being said here? And that's really the gist of, I think, the necessary first ingredient in
yeah.
this healing.
Yeah. So, as someone who is committed to a different path than what was taught to us initially, right? As someone who is seeking healing and holding space for us as we seek healing for all, like collective consciousness, all the beings along the path that cross your path, right? As we are moving into a time where gosh, I keep hearing your voice in my head of we come by it honestly. How do we hold space for someone who is in this place and um, honor that that is their reality and doesn't have to be yours, but I mean, I feel like in Kairos we learned so much about sovereignty. Like, what is your truth? And I wonder how all of that is like coming up in this, and then zooming out to look at the collective
Yeah.
healing around this, like that
It's a great,
aspect.
it's such a good question because, as a healer, like part of me wants to try to engage, try to find some commonality where we can, because we're talking about relationship, right? This
Yeah.
is about relationship. And this comment indicates a fracture in relationship, right? To be
Mm,
accusing and feeling scammed and all of that. It's not in relationship anymore, right?
yeah.
So there's a drive in me to try to like find, repair, do something to
Mm-hmm.
mend the relationship. But I also know that there needs to be an openness.
Yeah.
You can't repair one way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can. If you've been the egregiously wronging party, then the repair is on your side. But
Mm-hmm.
um, so I think sometimes what we need to do is just not engage. Continue having the conversations,
Yeah.
but don't engage with because I love that. Like, don't engage with the dirty pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can only engage with clean pain,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, all you can do is keep having the conversations and also like maybe the other thing is if you see an example of dirty pain that's harming somebody in real time, step in,
Mm.
try to like be a dirty pain shield or something. Um, so yeah, that's the best I can come to. Because part of me with this person, I was like, I could feel in me like, I want to try to do something to see if there's some softness that could happen or some opening or some,
Yeah.
but just knowing the tone of that comment and the
Mm-hmm.
tone of other things, I was like, It's not there. It doesn't exist. All
Yeah.
there is attack and blame.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to subject myself to that. You
Yeah.
know, I'm willing to have hard conversations, but I'm not willing to take attack and blame.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think
Period.
that's in our programming too, that we have done
Yeah.
that for a
Yeah.
very long time as well. And so part of sovereignty is learning what is mine, what is theirs, or what is mine, what is not mine,
Right.
what would continue to cause harm,
Yeah.
and and that's part of shifting who we are molecularly, like how our brains are wired and how we respond in traumatic. I mean, this is a comment that would at some point have caused me trauma. Like it would have
Yeah.
re-triggered
Me
trauma
too.
there,
Totally.
right?
That's why it was shocking when I saw it today and to just
Yeah,
be a little bit shook,
yeah,
but
yeah,
not like, so that is just indicative of the power of
yeah,
doing this healing work,
yeah, absolutely.
and then the more that happens, the more you can step in more and more and more, right? And
Right.
be effective as
Yeah.
much as you can be. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have like a fully composed thought around this, but Valerie Kaur's book, See No Stranger, keeps
Mm,
coming to mind as well. And so it might just be an invitation for anybody who's curious about that curious about this conversation to explore that book.
mhm,
She has this chapter about listening. That's one of her
mm,
tenets of how we heal these rifts between us. And she has this conversation with, she overhears a conversation of people that I think would fit the mold of white supremacists in a diner when she's having lunch. And she gathers herself and she goes and has this conversation with them. And they open up this dialogue, and it ends up still messy and still broken and fractured, and people not fully understanding the other, but having the willingness to just like,
yeah.
and she is a woman of color, so like the bravery that it would take to approach a group of men who are speaking in a way that is so violent, and
Wow.
she talks about how much she learned from it,
Mm,
and how I think she would do things differently. And then not a similar thing, but there's a situation that happens in her own family where um, where there is great harm that happens there too, and she walks through it, and it takes years,
mm,
you know.
yeah. Wow.
And a lot of it is learning where we are right now, like what we can and are willing to handle,
Mm,
to ingest, to relate to,
okay.
and where it's time for us to like tend to ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So, and if we can't tend to the wound of another, is there somebody else who could? But sometimes we just need to tend to our own wounds before we can
Yeah.
tend to other people's wounds.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I'm sure there's, if I were fresh on reading that book, I might have something more to offer, but it's been
Hmm.
so eye-opening for me just in general. And I really encourage people to check it out. Kaur is her last name, Valerie Kaur, See No Stranger. And I'm also curious about, well, I'm looking at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I,
was just noticing that too.
but that leads perfectly into this last piece that's coming through for me is I wonder if there is a spiritual component in all this as well, where we might not be in a place where we can connect with this other human in
Right.
any situation, right? In this situation, the person who left the comment.
Yeah.
It might fall on deaf ears, or we
Yeah.
might need to do whatever, or time might need to pass, or whatever,
Yeah.
before a physical conversation could be held.
Hmm.
However, we are all like more spirit than we are matter.
Yeah.
And there are things happening all the time,
Yeah.
um, in the unseen realms, in my estimation.
Hmm.
And I deeply believe that we have forces that are working in service to the healing of all of us.
Yeah.
And so, something I do often is not often, I wish I did it more often. But when I am having a really hard time seeing eye to eye with someone, especially when it matters, I don't know, like this might be a case where it's like I can honor her beliefs, let that be, move on with my life. But like I do this all the time with my husband when we are just like head to head and we cannot understand each other and we're like all the emotions are huge. I'm so
Mm.
frustrated and heartbreaking. I will call in my higher self and his higher self. And I'll be
Oh.
like, you two have a little chitty chat.
Yeah.
Because human Josh and Clarissa are not figuring this out. So please, like, do what you can on our behalves so that
Mm.
we are getting that information in our bodies, in our beings, in our brains. And nine times, well, I would say actually every time when I've tracked it, there has
Mm.
been a softening. There has
Mm.
sometimes been inexplicable magic that has happened,
Interesting.
like
Yeah.
healing that has happened. But it doesn't happen when I'm still in that place of like, I have to figure this out. It's
Yeah.
when I turn that over and I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta step back from this one. Can you
Yeah.
please, please intercede on my behalf?
I love that. So maybe that's a perfect segue. Maybe we just do a quickie healing, really with that intention for,
Hmm,
for this situation, but also for any of us in any situations and collectively even, right?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
sounds good. All right, shall we?
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say first,
Yeah.
thank you for being willing to bring this in here and have this vulnerable conversation. And you were like so fresh in it too. Like this just
Mm.
popped up out of nowhere, basically, right? Today,
Hmm. Yeah.
like this was
Yeah.
from context from like 2 years ago, and
Right.
this cropped up today. And so,
Yeah.
I imagine there still is a part of you that's like unpacking
Yep.
this. And I so appreciate you being willing to come and do that here publicly.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, part of me may kick myself tomorrow and be like, wait, why did you do that? But no, I'm grateful for it and feels important, feels
Yeah.
necessary.
I mean, this is what it looks
Yeah, this is what it looks like. And I think you just froze, Clarissa. Oh boy. Oh boy. Did I
like
freeze or
you
did
start
you freeze?
being.
Who froze?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay,
We're
we're
back.
back. We're
Yeah,
back.
I was just saying before we drop in, and I did get a little more time.
Oh, good. Okay.
Anyway, so
All right.
um, it says my internet connection is unstable. So um, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
This right here is what it looks like, and it means not showing up like having it perfectly figured out. And this is just one example of how we do it, and we happen to do it on YouTube.
Right. Right.
But we have these conversations offline too,
Mhm.
because we don't want to let these opportunities drift by, and it
Yeah.
takes oftentimes it takes some exploration and it takes some vocalizing the whole experience as we unpack all the layers of it and we get to understand like what's here for us in these opportunities
Yeah. It's
that we
messy.
wouldn't have if they didn't crop up, right?
Right. They're opportunities, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, thank you. So let's do this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like starting or shall
So
I start?
sure, sure. So for anybody who's new to these, we'll keep this one short. So maybe like 5, 10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Just drop us into a healing. So it's similar to meditation where we'll just kind of drop in and you can participate to whatever degree feels safe and comfortable for you.
Mm.
So follow our guidance or just open yourself up to the highest beings of love, light, high vibrational frequency, your network of non physical support, like your guardian angels, ancestors, who are, my friend Lorena again would say, my wise and well ancestors, the
Mm.
earth. So we'll be calling on those energies that are really here to support and facilitate our healing right now. The rest of them can just receive some
Okay.
of the healing, but not like meddling.
Yeah.
So sure, I'll drop us in.
All right.
So if it feels good for you, let your eyes drift closed. Honoring the gift of sovereignty that we are learning moment by moment. So if something else feels better to gaze out at nature or a soft gaze, please just listen to your body and your needs. Taking some deep breaths and letting yourself come as present as you can into your body. Maybe even taking a moment to feel your body, just gently placing your hands on this physical body right here, this one that you are inhabiting in this lifetime. Noticing where the skin meets the air. And as you're ready, placing one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Connecting with these power centers, these energy centers that make up so much of who you are. Just letting ourselves for a few minutes drop out of the brain, any concept of right or wrong, should, shouldn't, perfectionism, letting any of that just be for now and dropping your consciousness down into your body. Operating here now from our hearts and our gut, our love and our intuition. Feeling the earth beneath your feet, supporting you, allowing her to lend her strength to this healing, this opening, this softening. Just be with yourself in this space for a moment. Notice even how that feels. Is it easy? Is it hard? Is there resistance? Is there delight? No right or wrong. It's all just information. And as you're ready, imagine yourself in a column of light. It goes up into the heavens, the ether, down into the earth. This beautiful pillar of light, your central column of your being. Now imagine traveling up, 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 out of your body, up that column of light, till you reach your higher self. Just notice what this higher self might look like, what they feel like, what it feels like to be in their presence, their truth. And envision there being someone that you've had some sort of earthly skirmish with, some experience of not seeing eye to eye, not understanding each other. For me, it's the bicyclist that flipped me off when he drove almost into my car today. Wherever he is in the universe. Just noticing what it is to be in their presence. Noticing, oh, look, they have a higher self too. They have a higher self and they are here living a human life. And they're probably doing close to the best that they can, right? We don't always do the best that we can, but we're often doing the best that we can. And feel yourself opening up to curiosity. They're having of a different experience based on their own life journey, their trials, their lessons, their hardships, their pain. Just as you're up here with your higher self, Just noticing some of this new information about them and seeing yourself handing over this conversation, this struggle into the hands of your higher self and asking them if they would be so kind to facilitate a healing on your behalf. And if the other person is open to it, to facilitate a healing being facilitated on their behalf as well, in the interest of collective healing, of harmony, of love. Feeling that love begin to fill in your heart where you handed over this grief, this strife, this confusion. Let that energy of love permeate your heart, your being, if that feels okay for you. Giving a little knowing nod to your higher self for taking this on your behalf, in service to the collective and in service to your life path. And if you need to shrug anything off your shoulders, go ahead and do that too. Just kind of shaking your body, releasing anything that doesn't need to be held by you anymore. And as you're ready, take a deep breath in and descend back into your body safely, slowly down that column of light, back into your heart. And just take stock for a moment. Notice if you feel any different. Notice what that was like for you. Feeling your feet on the floor. And if this was of value, you can do this anytime with any situation. Breathing into your body. And with that, I feel complete, and I hand it over to you, my dear friend.
Yeah, and now from this place, this sort of more cleared out, present place, really feeling your heart and placing your hand on your heart and really feeling the power of us coming together here in this with this intention for these conversations, for this healing, and just feeling the power of that collective intention and just allowing the energy of that, the love-based energy of that, the intention for healing, the intention for community, the intention for belonging, the intention for all beings being honored and respected exactly as they are, the intention for the ending of power over.
Mm.
Just feeling letting the vibration of all of that build that heart-centered, love-based intention. Using the energy of your breath to amplify and any other intentions you may have that you want to add into that frequency. That's your unique frequency in this conversation, in this process. Allowing your breath to amplify it. And then with your breath, allowing it to grow. Feeling our collective energy and your individual energy as part of it, just growing, emanating, rippling out into the field, into the collective. And knowing that it can find its way to any little nooks or crannies or spaces or places that may benefit from this vibration in service to healing for all, in service to the breaking down of divisions, in service to the healing of wounding, in service to the coming together of humanity. We'll just take a moment here to continue breathing that intention and knowing that our divine teams are there with us, activating this, amplifying it, helping it find its way to the places it can be of most service. Knowing that we will never know the impact of what we're doing here. And that's okay. We do it anyway. We know that it's so much bigger than any of us. 2 more breaths here at your own timing, your own speed. Just allowing that love to emanate outward, feeding that which needs feeding. Now, with your next breath, starting to bring your energy back into your body, knowing that those ripples, that those emanations remain in the field. But now you get to bring your awareness, your consciousness right back to your body, where you're sitting in your room, in your time and space, in your body. And as we're coming to a close here, if you're carrying any energy of anyone else's from any time and space, we're returning that now to sender with love. It's not yours to carry. And if there's any parts of you that have fragmented off or left and gone elsewhere, calling them all back home now to yourself, calling them all back home so that you are fully present, fully embodied, fully sovereign, feeling your butt in your chair. Starting to move your body a little bit, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers as we start to come back. And as it feels right for you, allowing your eyes to flicker open and orienting to your space.
Whew.
Yeah,
Thank you.
may it be so for all of us.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we did it.
Yeah. Thank you for being here,
Thanks for being
people.
with us. And we'd love to
Talk
hear
to
from
us.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will be sending out an email with our next healing circle coming up in a couple
Yeah.
of weeks.
Yeah.
So,
If you're not on that list, go join and we'll get you that
yeah.
information for anything else coming up.
Yep. All
Thank
right.
you so
Lots of
much,
love.
Max.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.